What's the advantage of having a compass?
I think the advantage of having a compass is helping you to determine what mountains you want to climb. When you have a compass, you only choose to climb things and take on obstacles and challenges that are genuinely in your path. Every journey and every pathway has challenges, right? Using this hill, mountains metaphor for, say, career and journey and everything. And a lot of the time you go through pain doing something. The pain is a real waste of your time if you don't really enjoy the journey you're on, and you certainly don't enjoy getting to the top and looking back on the journey to get there. And there's this quote from Jim Carrey, talks about his father. Jim Carrey is the famous actor and comedian, done very, very well, Hollywood celebrity. And his father could have been a comedian too, but opted for the safe route and instead became an accountant. But then when Carrey was young, his dad lost that safe job and they went on hard times. I think they even lived out of a van at some point. And so Jim Carrey's kind of reflection on that is, you can fail at doing what you don't want or your plan B, so you might as well fail at doing what you love. And everything has challenges in life and you learn from everything. And the question is, what do you want to learn? If you have a compass that points the way you want to go, in this example being a comedian for, say, the Carreys, then you overcome the obstacles that relate to being a comedian. So yes, it's tough. Breaking in is probably hard, proving yourself, starting from nothing, like so many of them do. But it is worthwhile and it's worth overcoming because that's the direction your compass is pointing in. And being the accountant in this scenario is not super worthwhile. And Alex Banayan has this metaphor in his book, The Third Door, which is in the title. And the idea is that when he talked to all these very high achieving people like Bill Gates, Jessica Alba, Lady Gaga, the one thing they all had in common was that his metaphor is that if there were 3 doorways of getting into a nightclub, the first is lining up like all the other plebs and taking your place in the queue. The second way is knowing the bouncers or getting on the VIP list to short tracks the journey a little bit. But then the third way is jumping the fence and just finding the quickest, sneakiest way in, because you know where you want to go. Why line up to get there? That's a beautiful idea of, say, finding a compass, step 1, and then 2, taking the third door to get there. Don't take longer than it needs to. But obviously the trick is it's not where you're going, it's obviously that journey to get there. It's the story you actually want, not the ending. You never just watch the last 5 minutes of a movie, right? But watching the movie, the point is to get to the ending. It's a true paradox. It's always a question of what's the most direct route to what you want to do, what I want to do. Tim Ferriss has the great example of people wanting to go live overseas. And this is a glorious idea of, well, he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, so maybe he's responsible, of setting up their online business so they can earn an income online, then they can go anywhere because they're earning an income online. The problem is, if that's your strategy and your goal is just to live overseas, it could take you years. It's risky. Like you have to have a business idea. No, a business idea is that, click your fingers and you make it. You have to go through the process, right? You have to test product market fit. You have to see if someone likes it. You have to spend advertising money. You have to spend money before you can make money. All these risks and difficulties. And it's funny, in this little thought experiment, he goes, why wouldn't you just go work at an embassy or something? If your goal is to just live overseas, it's not to be rich and live overseas. You're starting to really blow out the goal here. In this day and age, the real value would be getting a remote job, because remote work is becoming so much more popular and COVID has accelerated that by decades. So that's the fascinating thing. So I guess that's always the question, right? What's the best way to do things and why put things off? I feel like early in my journey, like wanting to be a screenwriter, like I put it off out of fear. Like it's easier to go into consuming course after course to do something. But if something is practical and experiential and portfolio based as being a screenwriter or making short films or a musician or something like that, if you spend 3 years in class studying music or film, but you produce no work, how does that make sense as an educational pathway? For me, it makes absolutely zero sense. And you can apply the same thing to most other careers, but those are incredible examples because they're incredibly portfolio based and experience based. Right? Studying and writing notes on music is only going to do so much. It'll be a diminishing return. You'll always learn way more by actually composing, creating, playing around, getting in the nitty gritty with it. And whether you're a lawyer, whether you're interested in entrepreneurship, at some point, you cannot be sitting there learning in theory. You must be following the compass to actually go do the thing The learning will be on all the hills, the smaller hills on the way up to the bigger mountain for the journey that you're going on, and that will be the key. So the only hard thing is not knowing where you want to go. It's hard knowing which mountain you really want to climb. And that's where the whole point of this idea is clarity. The compass is clarity. It points in a direction. It's not unsure of where it wants to point. The only real barrier is a lack of clarity. The only real barrier is a compass that doesn't point north. What's distracting your compass from pointing north?